Hola guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Roxanne. If it's your first time here, then welcome. Today I want to talk to you guys about some of the most recent books that I have read, and I'm gonna lump a bunch in here because I kind of went on a Sarah Morgan hey, what are you eating? On like a Sarah Morgan binge. I read by her Moonlight over Manhattan, Sleepless in Manhattan, Holiday in the Hamptons, and Sunset in Central Park, all within like a week and a half span, 2 weeks. If you've been watching my weekly reading vlogs, you've been seeing me go through all of these, and a lot of these are tied. So sort of side characters of one will have their love story told in another book and things like that, or sorry, I keep hearing little noises and I'm just afraid guy was eating something he shouldn't be. But he's not. Like a character whose story you may have already read gets, if I were to read an earlier published book, they might make mention of them, like the twins or whatever, and they're all contemporary romances that are just very cute, very fast paced. If you're trying to get into romance, I think this might be a good place to start. They're all very sweet. And some of them, I mean, they're not perfect by any means. In some of them, I like the male characters more than others. Maybe sometimes they're a little bit pushier than I like, or than I don't really think that might be super romantic. But overall, I really do enjoy her sort of New York series books. I think they're really entertaining, they're really fun, they're a great way to sort of sate that desire to read more romance, and yeah, I think they're just really cute and lovely. Then I read number 2 in, is this number 2? I can't even really tell. Number 2 in the Cupcake Bakery mystery series by Jen McKinley, who does the cozy murder mystery books that I like. And this one was fun. It's still talking about our two friends who own a cupcake bake shop, and the mother of our main character gets involved in a murder. And so of course our main character has to solve it to save her mom and, you know, make sure that everything is okay. And it was cute and it was fun, and we're finally getting to see some more romance with our main character and our side characters as well, so that's always fun and cute. Then another mystery that I love is the Amory Ames series, and this is number 4, I believe, number 5, and it's called An Act of Villainy. And this one is about, it's our main characters are going to a play, and then of course a murder happens, and our main character Amory Ames has to solve it, and I love it. I love how they're longer than the cozy murder mysteries that I read. They're a little bit more involved. They are historical murder mysteries, and I just love them. I love our main character. I love how sassy she is. I love the agency that she has, which I think is something that still a lot of cozy murder mysteries miss the mark with, is the agency of our main characters. And I love it. I love the exploration of her relationship with her husband, how it's still evolving. There's still some trust issues there, but they're trying to get back to a healthy place together as a couple, and I really enjoy that side of it as well. And yeah, I mean, it's just very high class 1920s Europe. I like it. Then I had a DNF, and that was The Wife Between Us by Greer Hendricks, and I think this might have 2 authors if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, I have it here on my phone. Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekanen. The reason that I DNF'd this was I mostly didn't care. Right now I'm having to struggle to think back about what it's about. It is now I remember, it's about this woman. So we have our two main characters are 2 women, and one of them is the ex-husband of a man, and the other one is the current fiance of that same man. So I guess you would say initial main character finds out that her ex-husband is very quickly getting married again, and finds out who the woman is, starts to follow her around. she has drinking problems, and I started to get very sort of like Girl on the Train vibes from it, but ultimately I didn't really care. The writing wasn't engaging, the characters were not engaging, and the synopsis is very like, it's not what you think, which then makes me think about what I think and then try to think of things that it's not what I think, and it just took me away from the story. And I just wish that synopses for sort of thrillers like these would just give you very quick things to compel you to read the story, but not say things like it's not what you think, because for a reader like me, that takes me out of the story, because I'm trying to figure out what it is instead of just being engrossed in it, especially when it's not really coupled with like fantastic writing or characters to keep me engaged. So I think I read about 60 pages on it, and then I just decided I really didn't care, so I gave it up. This isn't going to be the greatest wrap up, just because most of them are quick things that I don't have much to say about. Sorry, there's like a hair on my face. Quick ones that I don't have much to talk about, and DNFs. Oh, but here's one that I do have a little bit to say, because I thought it was great, and it is A Sprinkle of Spirits by Ana Mariano, and this is the second book in the middle grade series Love, Sugar, Magic, which is a Latinx fantasy series about a family of female witches who through their baking are able to perform magic and help their community. We have our main character Leo, or Leonora, who is still trying to figure out, she was sort of inducted into the witchcraft side of the family earlier than she should have been, which is explored in the first book, and in this one she's trying to find a balance between her friends and her family, and she's trying to make everybody happy, and it's about family and friendship and a different way of presenting magic to us, and it is just very sweet and very full of culture and love and magic and friendship, like I said. And I recommended the first one, I believe, last year for Hispanic Heritage Month, and I think I'm going to recommend this one for this year's as well. It's just such a sweet, oh my god, there's like there's just such a sweet series so far, and I love the representation in it. And yeah, I mean, the world continues to expand. In this one we get to see more about sort of the what happens to their dead and their ancestors and how they communicate, and it's a lot of different levels that are being added to it very slowly that I just really appreciate. So if you're looking for a middle grade, I recommend this. If you're looking for books maybe for your kids, I would recommend it. If you're looking for Latinx books, they're just really cute, sweet stories to read. And then I have another DNF. And this one I was very disappointed by. You guys know how much I love Pride and Prejudice, and hence because of that, I love Pride and Prejudice retellings, or I like to give them a try. So far none have succeeded more than Longbourn by Joe Baker, I believe, but I keep giving them a try because I love Pride and Prejudice so much. So I heard about this book, and it's called Mary B, An Untold Story of Pride and Prejudice by Catherine Chen, and it is a Pride and Prejudice retelling through the eyes of Mary Bennet. Now if you guys have read Pride and Prejudice, you know that Mary Bennet is sort of this the very plain one that likes to read more than go out and socialize, and she kind of annoys the family because she's always... You alright, buddy? I think he was sneezing. And she kind of annoys the family because the way she says things is comes very kind of like, I know more than you, blah blah blah. So this is supposed to be a sort of feminist retelling of her story, and I was like, cool, I'm all for it. I'm very excited. I think this concept is going to be great. I was very excited about it. I start to read it, and I was very pleasantly surprised. I liked the writing. I liked how we were starting to see more sides of the family and more sides of Mary, how she was starting to become a more fully fleshed out character, because we don't see much of her in Pride and Prejudice. And then as I went to update my Goodreads, I happened to notice the low scores it had. And I didn't really understand it because so far I was really enjoying it. So I said, well, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to keep reading it. I'm enjoying it. So I continue to listen to the audiobook, and then I get to a chapter where it's might be the first ball, the first or the second ball, where the family's there with obviously Darcy and them, and she's outside, Mary's outside. I don't really remember why right now. I think she was upset by something, and Darcy comes outside, and Darcy like sparks up a conversation with Mary and starts confiding in her about how he thinks he hurt her sister's feelings, and how you know, he might try to make it up to her by asking her to dance in the next ball that they attend, and then says something along the lines of like, if she won't have me, maybe I'll dance with you. And immediately I pause, and that didn't sit well with me. First of all, like, Jane Austen makes it very clear to us that when we first are introduced to Darcy, he is someone who's very sort of introverted, it's not easy for him to socialize with other people. He has that pride factor of him. He's just not sociable like his friend and like the Bennet sisters are, and it's just not something that he wants to do. It's not something he finds pleasure in. So I find it very hard to believe that he's gonna go outside and see, you know, Mary Bennet, of one of the sisters of a family that so far he doesn't really think very highly of, and starts to spark up a conversation and sort of like share his emotions and his feelings with her. Because he tells her something about like, usually what I would love to do on my time off is this and that, and it's like he opens up and becomes this character that is not at all like the Darcy that I have ever read. And so I was like, okay, that doesn't make any sense to me. And also this kind of like flirtation doesn't make sense to me. But maybe this is the way that like Mary wants to interpret the happenings. Like maybe she's not like a very reliable character, or I don't know. I was trying to excuse the book. I was trying to make excuses for it, but the more that it continued, the more and more I wondered if Catherine Chen read the book that I did. Like these characters were the essence that Jane Austen created for these characters isn't present in the story that she's trying to write for us. And there's like this weird friendship and almost bordering on flirtation between Darcy and Mary. And so this story also goes beyond the scope of Pride and Prejudice into like things that happen after Darcy and Lizzie get married and things like that. And so there's the scene where Mary goes to visit them, and Lizzie is described as being this character that is nothing like the Lizzie that we know. Like, it's like money changed her, and it treats, you know, rubies and emeralds like they're just, you know, just another stone. Like, oh my gosh, I have so many of them. And she doesn't, there's this weird tension between her and Darcy. They don't really get along. She still has that like weird pride thing against him. Things that we know their character arcs overcome over the story. Hey, Bebs.
Sorry, I made a lot of noise.
Yeah, you did. It's okay. And it didn't sit well with me, and I got to about almost 40% of it, maybe more, almost half, I think, and then I said, I'm done. Like, it's genuinely upsetting me to continue to read this book, because these are not the characters that I know. These are not the characters that I read every single year, and I think that she had such an amazing idea, and I don't think she executed it well. The writing was good, but it's also not good enough for me to continue to want to read it. And then most of the when I went and I looked back at a lot of the negative reviews, they pretty much all said the same thing that I did. She is not talking about the same characters that are in Pride and Prejudice. So almost like, should you have just written another story with a similar character to Mary and then just made this other whole world and whole story up with these characters the way that you want them to be? But, you know, maybe she wouldn't have got the sell value of having, you know, a Pride and Prejudice retelling. So I don't know, I think that the book does a disservice to the characters that we get in Pride and Prejudice. I didn't like it. And yeah, if you really want a good Pride and Prejudice retelling, especially one that's from another character's perspective that maybe you haven't thought about, check out Longbourn. It is a bajillion times better. Those are the books that I have read recently. This wrap up didn't have much substance. I apologize about that. It's because, you know, I read a lot of quick cozy things that I didn't have much to say about, except I like them, they're fun, yay. But I did want to wrap them up for you guys and tell you that I have read them. And as always, thank you for watching and for listening. Let me know what you've been reading lately.